Hey guys, I'm out here in the shop today working on some flags. I've got quite a few ordered and I'm trying to get these things filled and get them out. But for the time being, I'm going to take a break and switch over to a couple other flags to show you how I'm making these. Now, I'm not going to show you the process of making the flags. Those videos are out there. You can go check those out here on my channel. But this is to show you the new stain I'm using. It's a water-based color stain. I found it at one of the big box stores. It works really good. It's about $10 a quart. When you get it off the shelf, it's not mixed. You have to take it to them, tell them what color you want, and they'll mix it for you. It is a pretty cool stain. It applies easily, it wipes off easily, and it looks really good, especially after you torch it. All right, these two flags, they're 13 by 24.5. This is what I'm working on now. Check it out. Okay, now here's the three colors. Here would be the red, and it is actually scarlet. The name of this color is scarlet. The blue I'm using is true blue. Now this is the white, it's called marshmallow. I'm not going to use this today. I'm going to leave the what would be white strips natural, but this is the white. And I've got this for another project, so I'm going to try that later on. Here's the true blue, and here's what it looks like off the shelf. It's clear tint base wood stain, and of course they mix it, and I'll show you the color. I loosened this earlier. There we go. So this is the true blue, and it is really blue. It really looks like paint. It's really thick, but man, it looks good after you torch it. It's kind of bright. To me, it's kind of bright and would make a great flag, I'm sure, without torching it. But the torching it really tones the color down and kind of makes it look antique. And this is the scarlet. If I can get this off. Show you this. And ignore my sawdust in the background. That's the result of not having a dust back yet. Looks really good. Pretty color, and let's go ahead and get this applied. Now here's the strips. When I rip down the strips for a flag, I'll go ahead and tell you this, I put them all together, and this is the way I want them laid out. I've already got picked out for the union. I try to make the tighter joints always at the top where the union is going to be, because it's easier to dremel the stars when you don't have huge gaps. But I've got it laid out like I want it. Now I'll just go back and stain each red stripe, and I'll mark off the union here in a minute and stain that. Okay, like I said, I've already got these things laid out, and of course the first stripe's going to be red. This is my old rag that I used before. It's all dried out, and I'm going to use this to wipe the strips down again, and just a brush to apply, and it goes on really good. It looks like paint, but then when you put it on, you can tell it's just a stain. And if you're ever concerned about the floor, I know some people want a perfect floor in the shop. Our shop's already got a stained up floor, but I do sometimes put sawdust underneath where I'm standing, and the sawdust will catch whatever falls on the floor. Again, it goes on really easy. Get this first one done. And I do the edges also. The reason I do the edges is because if there's any variance in the thickness of the boards, if this is going to stick up a little further and you happen to see the edge, it'll be a red edge and not just a white or clear edge, plain edge. And wipe it down. Again, it is water based, so it comes off your hands pretty easily. So there you go. Okay, so as you see, it goes on really easily. This is just a cheap brush that I have. You can use a sponge brush, a rag, a cloth of any sort just to put it on, and then just an old cloth to take it off. It's a really, really easy process. Okay, when I get down to the top 7 strips, I go ahead and get my union or my star stencil out, mark where the union is going to be, and now I'll take those off separately to stain. Here I'm just using painter's tape to tape on the union side of the strips. This will allow me to stain the red strips without getting red into the union area. So as you're staining the strips that have the union on it, just make sure you don't get too much of the red stain near the tape area because it can bleed over a little. Also make sure your hand is free of stain that's handling the union area. After staining all of the red strips, I went back and removed all of the tape. I added new tape to all 7 of the top strips on the opposite side of the mark that I'd made. This allowed me to stain blue on the union without getting the blue stain on the opposite side of the strips or outside the union. Remember, when staining the union, make sure you don't get it too heavy around the taped area because it will bleed over a little. And also, while you're handling the strips, make sure you don't have blue stain on your free hand there. I forgot to add, when you finish using the red stain, don't forget to rinse your brush good before you start with the blue stain. Alright, so here's what it looks like after I stained it. And it's not put together yet. I just slid it together. Once this dries, I'm going to put it together and I'll come back and torch it and then Dremel the stars. But that looks really good. You could actually just Dremel the stars just like it is. I think it'll look good. I think it'll also look good to add that white in there, and I'll do that on another video. Alright guys, got the torch going. This is the same torch that I put on the small canisters. I've just attached it to a hose which goes to my large propane tank. It's much more convenient that way. Now I'm going to turn it up a little bit and just torch it a little bit and see what kind of color I can give it. You'll see the red kind of toned down with a little brown. And obviously all wood torches differently. This stuff looks really good. Now, I don't have the edges finished at all. So this right edge over here, there's a little bit of difference in lengths, and you can see it there, but I'll have that squared away once I get it all dremeled and everything. But I do like to torch it before I dremel the stars, because you have to torch the stain a little more to make it dark, and if you do the stars before that, then you'll have dark stars, and it'll kind of hide the stars. Alright, normally I would speed up the video or edit it out here. This can be kind of boring, but I just want to let it play out and kind of talk to you about how to burn the flags. I'm no expert on torching these flags, but I've had more questions about this. And I'll just tell you, using a torch is very similar to using a spray can. You want to enter the project with a sweeping motion, leave the project with a sweeping motion. Don't stop and stay too long in one spot because you'll have a burn spot. You know, if you want it darker, go over it more times. I would say be about 3 to 6 inches from the project as you're torching it. You'll need to determine that based on the type torch you have and how hot the flame is. So it's very much like using a spray can. If you stop in one spot with a spray can, you're going to have a run. If you stop here, you're going to have a burn spot. So just go over it and make it as dark as you want it. Now I go over a good bit to kind of even it out. Some places burn quicker than others. So in order for me to even it out, I have to hit some places repeatedly. These red strips, that's what would normally be just torched on the some of the other flags I've done, the Rustic American Flag. And it don't matter if it's a little bit splotchy. You can't help part of that anyway due to some of the knots and the different grains. Alright guys, there is the flag after I've torched it. I think it looks pretty good. I think it tones down that color a little bit to torch it like that. It makes it look a little rustic, and I like leaving the plain strips here unstained. I'm going to drill these stars a little later. I'm not going to show you that because you've already seen that in other videos, but this is the stain. I think it works good. It's easy to put on. Wipe it right off, let it dry a little bit, torch it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.